Hey everybody, today's the day. It's spooky day. Yeah, Halloween is today. Always a fun day. I always look forward to it. And of course, I gotta review some kind of Halloween related thing on Halloween, so I guess why not? This time it's a review on the Tim Burton classic Sleepy Hollow. So the plot of this movie is back in the late 18th century, a New York City police constable named Ichabod Crane, played by Johnny Depp, is really criticized for his use of Scientology to investigate murders and crimes and such, because this was back in the days where everyone believed in supernatural stuff and people thought it was, forbidden and sacrilegious. But so he's so he goes on a big crime scene to find out that there's a town called Sleepy Hollow where there's this headless horseman, so to say, that goes around and beheads a bunch of the the townspeople. So he has to go around investigating this headless horseman, thinking it's just a weird thing that probably doesn't exist, but he comes to learn that maybe there is some kind of weird secret beneath it. This was a good movie. It's a really good film. It was cool to see Tim Burton do a legitimate horror movie because Tim Burton's movies, they are definitely known for being dark, but when you get down to it, none of Tim Burton's movies are really horror movies. Most of them are just dark fantasy movies. Like Beetlejuice wasn't a horror really; it was more of a comedy. Um, like some others, like obviously the Batman movies aren't horrors because why would a Batman movie be a horror movie? Like that'd be ridiculous. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not a horror movie. Edward Scissorhands, not a horror movie. But this was a good change of pace for him. It was nice to see him kind of go beyond the realms of what he normally does, and because like his other, this is an R-rated film, so it was kind of interesting to see Tim Burton go that extra mile because you do see some blood in the movie. I mean, by today's standards, it's not much. I mean, I guess with the MPAA's American System's weird source of ratings, it probably would have still gotten an R rating today. But when you get down to it, like it's really pretty tame for an R-rated horror movie. Other than some beheadings and some blood spatter, it's nothing really that much. It's kind of tame for a horror film, but that being said, it's still a good movie. It's very stylistically great. I mean, it's a Tim Burton movie. Like even if some of his movies aren't as good as others, they always tend to look stylistically good, and you definitely get the vibe from that. Like all the visuals look very Burton-esque. Even even just down to it being a period piece taking place in the late 18th century. Like all the dead forests and such, it really looks amazing. And this a story like this really fits a Tim Burton period piece because Sleepy Hollow is a pretty well-known story. There's been multiple adaptations of it, and it was interesting to see Burton get his chance at it. And Johnny Depp is the lead, and he's collaborated with Tim Burton a couple times, and he is fit for a role like this. I think it's good. He plays kind of like a guy in a dreary world who's kind of an outcast. I know lots of people say Johnny Depp's characters are weird. I don't think of them as weird, really. I kind of think of them more as misunderstood heroes. That's kind of what I always assume they are. And he really does fit the role of Ichabod. I think because he's kind of the only, I don't want to say sane, but he's the kind of more normal kind of one who doesn't believe in the supernatural. He actually is more practical compared to other people. He also gets a bit of a love interest. Christina Ricci plays her, and she was good to see. She's always good for again all these kind of supernatural kind of movies like Addams Family and such. So I think her and Johnny Depp do really work well together. I think they do really share a lot of great scenes together. Like even when the movie does isn't full of like beheadings and action and such, even just the sentimental moments between them do really bring out the film. It really gives it some, it gives it a bit of weight, emotional weight to it. It gives it some depth. Like maybe not, it's not super deep, but it was good. it was very fun. It was a really unique take on the Sleepy Hollow story. I mean, I haven't seen really any other adaptations of the Sleepy Hollow story, but I do know the story enough to get the gist of it. So this movie, I think, really played out, and it's even got a really great supporting cast too, like Michael Gambon, who just died recently. Rest in peace, sir. Yeah, before Dumbledore, he was in this movie, and he is good. He doesn't. He plays Christina Ricci's character's father, and he's always a great. He was a great actor. I really do miss him. It's gonna be a shame not seeing him and stuff anymore. Miranda Richardson has a small role. Michael Michael Goff, I think is his name. Yeah, the guy who played Alfred in the Burton Batman movies, funny enough. So I guess maybe he wanted to work with him again. He has a bit of a small role, so it really does have a good cast of supporting characters, even if not a lot of them have much to do. But this is the story of Ichabod Crane, so it's really character focused. So yeah, Sleepy Hollow, it's a good film. I think it's very stylistically good. It's a really good. If you don't even know the story well, I think this is a pretty good introduction to it. It's very stylistically good. It has unique characters and a really interesting story to balance it out. So, and if you want to see Tim Burton try out an R-rated film, I guess this is a good one to check out. Even though by today's standards, like I said, it's not really that much. Like I think if you're like high school aged, I think you could handle it totally fine. Like maybe if you're like 14 or 15, I think you could handle this movie fine. Other than some blood splatter, there's really not that much. So yeah, Sleepy Hollow, it's a good film. If you want to watch a movie today for Halloween, I recommend putting this on. It's quite good. So see you guys later and have a happy Halloween and stay safe today. So take care, everybody.